Hello, hi. Okay, so this is primary two topic mass measuring in grams for week 6. Okay, so there will be 3 booklets, and the last one is a word problem booklet and emphasizes on drawing bar models. So I would need your all trainers, right, to take into to be mindful about the time. Although it seems like 3 booklets are a lot, the first booklets are seemingly easy, and then the third one is something that they've done before previously, right? Drawing bar models, right? More than or the stack model and the single row model. So it should be manageable, right? If you are able to control the time a bit. Okay, so let's start with the first booklet, 0223 MG1/1 worksheet. For this particular topic, students need to have an understanding of the concept of 1 gram. If you recall, last week they were working on 1 kg, right? So it's good for them to have a sense of how 1 gram weighs. Mr. Patrick, right, has done some research and found that 1 gram, or rather the weight of 1 rubber band is about 1 gram. So we'll prepare some rubber bands, right, for you to use in class. They are readily available. And so you can get students have an idea, right, of what 1 gram is. And then you might want to do a bit of a linking back to last week's topic, right, the 1 kg water bottle, right, to get them to contrast the difference between 1 gram and 1 kg, right? And just to quickly mention that when you have 1,000 of these rubber band, right, 1,000 of this rubber band is the same weight as a water bottle, right? So 1,000 gram is equals to 1 kg, right? So just touch and go, right? Because you will only learn more about it later. Now, the next thing that you need to teach in class is the weighing scale again. So last week, the weighing scale is by kg, right? So this time around, we're looking at by grams. In fact, 10 grams, right, per notch, per scale. Okay, so you might want to, but we don't have a scale in class, so here you might want to spend a bit, spend some time on it in case students get confused with the scale that they did last week, or even worse, get confused with the clock. So this portion, you definitely need to explain, right, how it works. So each notch here, all right, if you think about it, each notch here, right, each of the scale here represents, you need to tell the student that it represents 10, right, 10 grams. Okay, 10 gram, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? You might want to count with them, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. All right, so each knot weighs 10 gram. Okay, so for example, the one below, right, you might want to ask student to guess how much this is. So this is 300, and then now you're counting in 10, so it'll be 310, 320, 330, right? So the cook is 330 grams. Okay. After this portion, you can get them to do the guided practice. I think it should be quite easy. If you like, you can demonstrate the first question. It's just about counting the number of grams, right? Because these are all equal scale. So counting the number of grams on the right side, and that's the answer, 5 grams, right? And this one, they have to count in tens. They can count in hundreds first, right? Just like what we did in P1 or P2. Counting numbers, 100, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260. Okay. So this one you need to get them do it as well. All right. Let's see. And then this is get them to differentiate between grams and kilograms, which is why the earlier topic, right, for them to get a sense of what kilogram is and what gram is, right, it's very important. Okay. Now the rest of the questions, right, individual practice, right, are quite repetitive. So I would say that you don't really have to get them to do that in class, but perhaps get them to do the scale one. I foresee that the scale one is the one that they may have a bit more problem with, especially when the needle is not, the pointer is not pointing at the mark, right? This would be easy for 1 gram, but this one, right, require them to count properly, 310 by 330. So focus on a few questions on this, right? Maybe 1 or 2 questions. Okay. And then, yeah, something like this would be good, right? 60, 40, right? So focus on this. Okay. And then maybe 2 questions, and then you can skip. For this kind of question, comparison, right? I think this is a good question to do. This is page 17. Okay, so what you can do is to get them to count first, all right? What's the weight of this, and then write it on the side, right? So this 140 gram. It's easier for them to compare. And this one would be 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 150, 160. Okay. So the mass of strawberry, right, will be the difference, right? If you take away the potato or the whole thing, right, you minus, or rather 160 minus 40, okay, you get the mass of strawberry is 20 gram. Okay, all right. So this is one way to show your students how this can be done. Okay, so important for them to write down first. Okay, then you might want to get them to do another question on their own. Okay, and for this question, I think it can be a science homework. So what you need to do is just get them to remember for them to write down the weight on the side first, right? So this 100, so it's easier for them to compare. We're at 10, 150, 67. Okay, so what is the mass of the sweet, right? So would be this minus this, right? The orange. Okay, so try to get them to do it on their own, right? Maybe a science homework, because that's the only question that they give. This is a higher level question. We also like to see how well they do as well. Okay. So these questions, I think it is not necessary to go through in class, right? And then finally, maybe, okay, if you think that you are in good time, okay, you can perhaps go to 23, right, and work together with them, right? If not, I think you can let them try out this as homework. Okay, so that's for book 1. Now let's get on to book number 2. Okay, this is book number 2, 0224, Com 1/1 WS. Okay, for this one, they're supposed to compare 3 items, 3 objects. So as per normal, okay, reinforce, because this is already written for them, but in class, right, it's a good practice, right? Get them to write down the mass on the left side first. Sorry, not on the left side, right below, right next to it. So this is 3 kg. All right, this is 1 kg. Okay, and this is 2 kg. Okay, so we want to know, we want to get them to understand, you know, when you compare which is the heaviest, which is the lightest, which is very similar to what we've done last week. Okay, so they should be quite aware of it. This greater and smaller sign, right? If the kids have problem understanding, you can explain a bit of what that means as well, right? So what the symbol means, greater, right? So usually I tell them that the bigger mouth, right, the bigger opening will face the bigger number. Okay, this is what I usually tell them. Okay, all right, so let's move on. Okay, and then this is comparing digital. Should be quite easy for them, right? So make it a touch and go. Right, and then arranging them. Okay, so yeah, so I should think that this is quite easy for them, because it's really about understanding. Once they have a concept of weight, and numbers, they should be able to do this, like relatively easy. Okay, so get them to finish all the guided practice, right? So here it gets them to write down the weight as well, right? To remind them, right, about counting the notches, right? 10 gram. Okay, so you definitely need to get them to do question 7, or you can work together with them. If you think that if your kids are quite capable or ready for that, then you can just focus, you can just get them to do it in class instead of you demonstrating, right? Of course, if you have to demonstrate this, then that means that they have to do 1 question from the independent practice, right? Just to make sure that they know what to do. So perhaps page 10, question 3. Okay, you can do it as a question for them to work in class. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is quite similar to what we have done last week. Okay. So this one, let's see. On page 17. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, I think this is actually easy as well. But you might want to, okay, let's use question 17 as an example to work together with them. Okay, I think this is quite practical in that sense. So yeah, all right, make sure that they write the equation down here. Okay, and then the rest should be fine, right? Let's see. Yeah, all right, the rest can be assigned as homework, right? Because they are quite the same. And so this is for book number 2. Okay, let's get ready for book number 3 then, right? Book number 3, pause. Okay, so the third booklet is about drawing bar models. So you might want to remind them about the key thing that they need to decide is when it comes to word problem, do they draw a single row or do they draw a stack model, right? Stack model is also known as comparison model. So one way is for them to read the question and get them to decide whether there are any words there that suggest that it's comparative, right? So for example, more than, greater than, right, or less than, and in this case it is heavier and lighter, right? Because this math, they should be looking for words like this, right? Heavier or lighter, okay, or more or less. Okay, so once they see this word, okay, they should know that they need to draw a comparison model. All right, so instead of going through this example here, right, I rather that you pick a guided practice. Okay, and for question 1 and 2, that you draw it together with them. Okay, so we can skip the teaching part here and just use guided practice to teach. So for example, the first question, a fruit seller had 56 kilograms of apples. He bought another 23 kilograms of apples. How many kilograms of apples did he have in the end? Is there a greater or less or heavier or lighter words in this question? There are no, right? No such words there. So that means that they will draw a single row. Okay, so please do this together with them. Make sure that they follow your instructions quick here, that they don't just sit there and listen to you, and they actually draw it on the booklets as well. Okay, after that, do the equation, they answer the question. Question must be completed in the statement. All right, the statement must be provided. All right, and then guided practice number 2. Okay, Ivan used 220 grams of flour. By the way, the word here is called flour and not flour. Okay, a lot of students have been mispronouncing it for yeah. Okay, same as the rest of us, right? A lot of I think previously we pronounced it as flour. No, it's actually flour. All right. So Ivan used 20 grams of flour for making brownies. He used 155 grams more flour for making brownies than for making cookies and for brownies. How much flour did he use for making cookies? Sorry. So ask them whether there is the comparative word there, and then there is more. So that means that they need to compare, right? Ask them what they need to compare, and here 2 items, brownies and cookies. Now for drawing model, right, especially comparative, we do it sentence by sentence. So Ivan used 220 grams of flour for making brownies. So that means that they need to draw the first model, right? It's really drawn for you, but I'll just quickly demonstrate. All right, and then he used 155 grams for making cookies more. So when the students are reading this question, ask them, he used 155 grams more flour for making cookies. So does that mean that cookies are more or brownies are more, right? So they should be able to tell you that cookies are more. So what does that mean? It means that you have to draw a longer bar. Okay, so you might want to question them, right? Then they should know because they've done a lot of practice, right? And then they got to do the labeling, right? So I would usually do, okay, apologies that I've drawn this 2 model first. I would usually get them to draw 1 model at a time, 1 sentence at a time. So actually, the first one, right, what they should be doing, right, is really labeling it first, right? 220 grams. Sorry, I don't have my pen with me today, so a bit inconvenient, right? They got to label it. Okay, so draw it sentence by sentence, and then the second sentence, right? They need to draw a longer bar and cookies, right? And then 155 more. Where's the more? Most people tell you that it's the more. Okay, and after that, you got the question mark. Okay, all right. So make sure that they solve they put in the equation, and they write in the sentence as well, right? The statement. Okay, and I think that's it. And that's it, right? Because the rest, okay, you may just get them to do as practice, right? As homework, right? So the focus for this lesson is to draw model. I would say, right, if there is time, turn to page 31. Sorry, not 31. Turn to page 14. All right, and you don't have to work together with them, right? Just take them through. Here you have 3 items. Okay, ask them, first of all, is it comparative model or is it single row? Okay, there are no more than sign, right? Or more than words or less than words, so it should be single row, right? So 3 items means there should be 3 rectangles there, right? 3 boxes. Okay, all right, that's it for all. Happy teaching.